What up, guys? Carolina Jackpot time coming at you. It is Wednesday. Means it's November 16th, 2022. It's about 12:30 p.m. And the topic of today's video is something that I don't normally do. I don't normally bandy these kind of videos about, just because it harkened me back to the off season when everybody and his brother on the college football YouTube creators platform was doing videos on conference expansion, conference realignment, playoff expansion, and it was like, you know, everybody's pumping out the same content, the same old shit, and it's just like that clickbait type stuff I don't really like to do videos on. However, just wanted to say that it's a very interesting scenario, and there are some interesting scenarios to look at here, and just get your thoughts on what might take place here in the college football playoffs and the realm of who's going to be in that Final Four, and what particular scenarios would have to take place in order for some teams to get in that you don't think will probably be playoff teams. First of all, the thing I wanted to look at is that a possibility that 3 SEC teams are in the playoffs. Hear me out. So we got UGA, obviously the number 1 team that's in the right now. So if you don't know, then you need to know. UGA is number 1 team in the playoff right now. Then followed by Ohio State, then Michigan, and then TCU. All those teams are undefeated. Is it possible that we see 3 SEC teams in there, and it could possibly could it happen? So let's say UGA drops the SEC championship game to LSU. Let's say they drop it in close fashion, 37-34. All right. So they lose by 3 points. Well, that just leaves UGA with the 1 loss. UGA's remaining schedule, by the way, is this weekend at Kentucky, and then they play Georgia Tech. They're not losing. So then you would have them with 1 loss, and you'd have LSU as the SEC champion with 2 losses. The SEC champion never been left out of the playoffs before, right? So then you have Tennessee, who's sitting here with 1 loss. So their remaining 2 games is against my Gamecocks, and then at Vanderbilt. Or not my Gamecocks, against the Gamecocks. That's on my team. Is it possible they win both of those? Let's say they win them by margin, okay? By both the games by at least 40 points. They're sitting here with 1 loss, and then that is to UGA, who's also now a 1-loss team. And then let's say in the Big Ten championship game, let's say Ohio State beats Michigan. Let's say they beat them pretty sound. Well, that's not the Big Ten playoff game, excuse me. Let's say Ohio State beats Michigan by 17 points. And then they go to the Big Ten championship game against insert Big Ten West team here. I'm not really sure it's going to be here. And let's say they win that by margin, okay? So you would have to say they're going to put them in. Would they take out the 1 loss or the 2 loss LSU team and have 2 Big Ten teams in there? And that's also saying that possibly TCU loses one of their final games against Baylor, and then they have 1 more regular season game. I'm not sure who it's against. Or have they lose in the Big 12 championship game? And then let's say Clemson loses the ACC championship. They went out to lose the ACC championship game to North Carolina. Do they put in 2 Big Ten teams and 2 SEC teams? Or do they put in 3 SEC teams and just the 1 Big Ten team? And let's say the other scenario. Let's say Michigan beats Ohio State by 17. And then Michigan blows out whoever they play in the Big Ten championship game. And then you put them in there. Could that happen? Is there a path for Clemson to make it to the college football playoff by winning out and winning the ACC championship against North Carolina by margin? Wouldn't you think they would have to put them in? Now that's saying if TCU doesn't lose. Would they put an undefeated TCU team in as a conference champion over a 1-loss Tater team as a conference champion? I mean, I think Clemson is kind of the apple of the eye to the playoff committee, and I mean, I guess they should be because they have won 2 national championships in the last 6 years, and they've been to the playoffs more often than not. They didn't go the first year it was created, and they didn't go last year. But every other year, they have made it to the college football playoff. So I think in the eyes of the college football playoff committee, that means something. Is there a path there for the USC Trojans to get into the college football playoff? So they would have to win their final 2 regular season games against Notre Dame and against UCLA. Then they would also have to win the Pac-12 championship game. And I'm assuming that's going to be against Oregon, right? Let's say they beat Oregon, Pac-12 championship game. That's still a quality win. A win over Notre Dame's a quality win too, because Notre Dame has beaten Clemson and they've also beaten North Carolina, both 1-loss ACC teams. They both handed them their 1 loss. They didn't hand it to them inside of conference play, but they did hand them that 1 loss. Interesting scenario there. I think if TCU wins out, they're in. They should be in. Well, they're going to be in. I think if Tennessee wins out, Tennessee's got to hope that Ohio State or Michigan in their game blows the other one out by margin, knocking the other one totally out. And I'm not 100% sure that they're going to be able to do that. Now, I think Tennessee's one loss regularly to the teams that they've lost to and the teams they've beaten, I think it's impressive. I think it's more impressive than what Michigan's is. And it's more impressive probably than what Ohio State's is. Will it be more impressive after one of those 2 beats the other? I don't know. Now, I've laid out the groundwork for everybody I think can get it, but is there an outside looking in chance? Is there any way on the outside looking in that North Carolina could make it into the college football playoff? North Carolina has a 1 loss. It's just the 1 loss. They lost to Notre Dame at home, though. The Taters lost to Notre Dame on the road. North Carolina didn't lose to the Taters lose to Notre Dame quite as bad as the Taters did. Taters' loss was a little bit worse than North Carolina's was. So you got that. North Carolina's remaining schedule, this week they play Georgia Tech, and then the next week they play NC State. They should win both those games. My only issue with North Carolina is they really haven't won their games by margin. They really haven't blown a lot of teams out. And their non-conference schedule has been pretty soft. It's pretty soft. Very soft. They did have the win at Appalachian State in like week 2, but I mean, Appalachian State's not been a real good team. And what y'all ran a track meet with them, and you were like 1 pole vault out in front of them. So I don't know. I don't know how favorably the committee would look at them. Let's say they win these last 2 games and they win them by margin. And they play Clemson in the ACC championship game. Let's say they come out there and play their A game. Let's say they beat Clemson in the ACC championship game. And let's say they beat them by, I don't know, let's say they beat them by 2 touchdowns. Let's say on the flip side, let's say TCU is also lost and that Georgia blows out LSU, that to thereby eliminating LSU totally, and that Tennessee wins out. And either Ohio State or Michigan win their game by margin and win the Big Ten. Could it be Georgia, Ohio State, or Michigan, Tennessee, and UNC? Is that possible? Am I even in the realm of possibility by even thinking that? Or is it not possible that UNC gets in no matter what they do? I don't have any idea. It's fun to look at, fun to prognosticate, and fun to predict. But we're going to find out pretty quickly how this scenario is going to play out. Because the end of the season's coming. It's coming pretty quick. I mean, it just seems like yesterday that it was still talking season, and now it's almost talking season again, isn't it? So we'll see how this thing pans out. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. See y'all later. Appreciate you. Peace, and I'm out.